Hi, my name is Debbie Luritz and I'm the winemaker at Cumulus Wines, and I'm here today with Dusty Buzzard Wines to do an interview to talk about myself and our wines and the Cumulus range. Where did I grow up? I grew up in Brisbane in Queensland, so lived all my life up there, went to school, high school, and sort of got into the wine industry really through my parents. They always drank a lot of wine at home, and that's how I first got interested in wines. How did I first get into winemaking? Yeah, growing up in Brisbane, there's obviously not a huge wine industry in Queensland. There's a little one, but I probably got most interested when I finished school. I headed overseas for a year on an exchange program. So with Rotary International, I headed to France for a year. I was very, very lucky to end up in France, which, you know, as we all know, makes fantastic wines all across the country. And that's really when I first got probably most interested in wines and winemaking. Some of the host families I lived with owned vineyards and wineries in the Beaujolais region, and I sort of first started tasting wines with food and understood the regionality and the terroir of wines, and that's really when I most got most interested in wines and thinking, oh, maybe there's a job here. I can I can go home and do some study and sort of get into this wine thing. Where did I start making wine full time? Here in this role as a winemaker at Cumulus Wines. Prior to that, I did a lot of vintages and had a lot of experience in Australia and overseas. But you know, it was only ever sort of 3 months, 6 months. It was a vintage role, and worked as a winemaker or as an assistant winemaker. But never really followed those wines the whole way through into barrels and bottling and seeing the life of the wine, how it matured and how it changed over its time. So really, my role as the real winemaker is taking control of the grapes from the vineyard all the way through the winemaking process, all through vintage, through all the maturation and barrels, all the way through to preparing it for bottling and putting it in a bottle. Really, that experience comes from here, from Cumulus Wines. Why do I work at Cumulus Wines? I think that this is a really exciting region where we are. Cumulus Wines has a 500-hectare vineyard that spans across the Central Ranges region and also the Orange region. And it's such an exciting region. It's when I first came here 6 years ago, I personally got to say I didn't know a lot about this region, and I think a lot of other people in Sydney and Canberra and Brisbane didn't either. And even just the 6 years that I've been here, it's really developed and it's emerged and it's becoming better and better, and you see all these fabulous wines coming out of this region that people haven't seen before. So it's got a really exciting future. People are still planting vineyards, people are still determining what varieties works best where. There's all different soil types, it's a whole range of climates. The region starts at 600 metres and goes all the way up to 1200 metres. So it's a very cool area. And it's got great sort of different sites and lots of different microclimates doing different that are suited to different varieties. So we've got the whole range of wines. People are doing sparklings, people are doing fantastic aromatic white wines, Riesling, Sauvignon Blanc, really good cool climate sort of Chardonnay examples, rosés, and then through to reds, from Pinot Noir all the way through to Cab Sauv. So all of that happening in one region is really quite interesting.